Hello everyone, and welcome back to SB Living. This is SB. This is the place for slow, seasonal, and spiritual living where we celebrate food, faith, and family in the everyday. And lately times have been a little hard, to deal with a lot of change, to deal with a lot of new routines with the new season and just big changes in general. And if you're trying to live a simple life, a peaceful life, you find yourself challenged about what that can look like when there's so much chaos around you. But I want to remind you that living simply is more than just the appearance of living simply. It's more than just the things that you have or what you're making or what you're choosing not to do. It really is a mindset. So in these difficult times, in these chaotic times, or you're feeling a lot of your own core sets of beliefs being challenged, just know that simplicity simply means being humble, leaving yourself open to what life brings, and knowing that you can sway with these changes like a tree sways in the wind. You might have really strong roots, but allow yourself to sway. It is an image that I bring to mind a lot at work when there seems to be a trauma or a crisis every day. But when I come home, I know that those are where my roots are. And a big part of my roots can be found in the kitchen. It might be true for you as well if you've been around for a while or if you've been enjoying the content that I bring to you every week. It's probably because you like to cook and you like to eat. So I welcome you, and if you're new here, I welcome you as well to join in these weekly recipes that I bring to you, not just to show you some of the things that we make on an everyday basis that we actually do eat. This is not for show. This is real life here, but it's to also offer you some comfort in knowing that in the mundane that you might find yourself in on the day in and day out, know that I'm right there with you and that there is beauty in the mundane. This dish that I'm preparing right now is one of my go-tos when I have nothing but chicken breast and I need to make up something really quickly. I do like myself a nice chicken cutlet, and I think if you are a mom or any parent of thriving children who love to eat chicken cutlets, probably one of the best things you can make. This is better than any other fried chicken you might get at a takeout place, but it's also healthier and you can make it your own. I do like the 3-dip method. Some people just do the egg and the breadcrumbs. I like the flour first because it allows the egg to really stick and the breadcrumbs to adhere to it much better. You can use panko breadcrumbs. You can use the Italian breadcrumbs that I always have. I don't really have panko right away, but it is something that I find if I coat really, really well, press it in, they do come out just the same. A trick I learned here is to actually refrigerate these breaded cutlets for a little bit, maybe about 30 minutes or so. It allows the cutlets to maintain their form for later and it fries up better. So I usually use that time to enjoy outside and take some fresh air. The seasons are changing. It is getting colder. We've had some really warm November days, but finally the chill is here. So enjoying those last moments of sunlight is really important. And before you know it, it's going to be sundown, and for us, that's inching closer, or rather I would say earlier, to the 4:30, 4 o'clock mark. But things start to get going around 6 o'clock in the kitchen just to make sure we have dinner on by 7. And what this means is that the chicken cutlets get fried, both sides nice and warmed and browned, and then they will be baked towards the end. As you know, a big bowl of ensalada or salad is the next go-to. It is something that you will always find me making. By now you know that whatever I have in the fridge is going to go in this big bowl. I'm going to put in some of my homemade dressing and then just slosh it up with my own hands. I've also been considering, like, what is it about mixing things with your hands that make it so much better? It's fun, number one, right? But I also feel that the warmth that comes through in your hands when you're actually handling the food and mixing things, it actually allows the ingredients to meld a bit better. It's like your own body composition transferring itself to the food, and you just know that the flavors just meld so much better. So if you haven't mixed a big salad by hand before, I strongly suggest it. It's, again, like I said, it's fun, but it also tastes different. And if you do the same, please let me know if you notice the same difference as well. So I opened this video with this idea of simplicity being more than just what we do or how we look or what we provide or show others, but really a mindset or just a way of your heart, a way of your being. And I want you to just think about the ways in which you try to live a life of simplicity and ask yourself, is this causing me more stress in order to reach this ideal, this thing that I want, or is this actually causing me or allowing me to be more peaceful? And I really want you to think about that, because I feel like with this world that we're in, a lot of us see these inspiration, these motivational videos or images or people saying, you know, this is how life should be or can be, please do the same. And then it's just another task or job to do. And I hope you don't feel that way when you stop by and spend some time with me here. This is more for you to know that it's not as hard as you might think it is, and it's not actually as complicated as you fear it to be. Just allow yourself to sway, like I say, sway in the wind like a tree, and just allow yourself to be in the moment and do the things that you feel you are getting the most out of. It's easy to allow us to worry about what other people think, but just remember that God does not see as we do, right? He doesn't see the appearance. He looks into the heart. Just know that if your heart's in the right place, you're in the right place. So around this time, I start to look in my pantry to dig out what I need to use for Thanksgiving. It's a couple of weeks away, and I usually host for some of my family, and I always find that I have leftover ingredients from last year. One of those things are canned pumpkin frozen cranberries that are still in the freezer. And while I know I'm going to get new ones for this Thanksgiving feast, I like to use up what I have in the easiest ways. And for canned pumpkin banana bread is my go-to. I make banana bread so often. It's something that I know that my kids will eat, everyone will eat, it'll be done within a few days. And so making it seasonally with different flavors is the best way for me to continue making what I know works in the house. And for this one, I'm just adding in some canned pumpkin to offset some of the banana, and then some spice like nutmeg and ginger and cinnamon, those warming spices that really, fill up your tummy and make you feel like you have a big hug inside. This banana bread is exactly what that is. For traditional banana breads, you'll have just regular white sugar. I find that using brown sugar just adds another depth of flavor. I do like to use oil as well, olive oil particularly, instead of butter for certain things. So again, just use a recipe that works for you, but adding in that pumpkin is going to just deepen the flavor and also deepen the color, which is a very beautiful thing. You can easily make this and then slice it and add some drizzled icing on top just for some decoration, and you can bring it someplace. You could bring it to a brunch, you could bring it just for a little, coffee cake at someone's house like we used to do back in the day. You remember when we used to just stop by and just have company? This is something that you would do or you would bring. If you're new to baking, or if you have children in the house that would like to start baking in the kitchen, banana bread is one of the best recipes to start with. It's very forgiving. Unlike regular baking, like with muffins or certain types of breads, this is a quick bread, which kind of cooks a little bit more like a cake. But unlike a cake, you can increase or decrease certain ingredients without too much of a mess and without it impacting the flavor or the density too much. So I strongly suggest that if you're wondering where to start, banana bread is probably the best step one for anyone looking to start baking. And there's a million ways you could make these things. So in my readings this week, I always like to see what connections I can make with my own life, especially the particular readings that you would find in your daily scripture or on Sundays. And one of the things that stood out to me this week was just the emphasis on doing right more so than just thinking right. And I love that, right? Because it's one of those things where we always say to each other, if you're going to walk the walk, don't talk the talk, right? Walk the walk, or worry about what you're doing rather than what you're thinking, because no one knows what's going on in your mind. It's really about what you do and what your impact is on others around you in the world. That's really going to be your legacy. So if anything at all, I know that at least in the United States, the events of this week is really trying to help us put that into perspective, where our actions are really going to be who we really are. And when I start thinking about what makes up most of my actions during the day, it's a small comfort to know that as much stress that it brings me, the work and service that I do during the day, and then coming home and doing a different kind of work and service for my family really helps me know that I'm centering on what I feel is always important. Because you see, if you are living in your truth and you're living in a way that you feel is good for yourself, but also good for others, you really can't lose. Because we could all agree, no matter what walks of life or faith or anything at all, we could all agree that by adding to someone else's joy and happiness, you can only be, in my perspective, you can only be a type of saint. That's just saintly living right there. You are exemplifying what it is to express love, joy, care, and concern for others by ensuring that you're providing that space in order for that to happen in the first place. And for me, again, that starts in the kitchen. It is not just these routines, these chores, these things we have to do just to get life going every day, day in and day out. Yes, people have to eat, but are we eating to live, or are we living to eat? And I will say I'm part of the latter over there. We're definitely living to eat here, because food is a unifying force. I feel like even in the worst situations, food allows us to kind of channel our energies, and it allows us to kind of take a moment to connect to yourself, but also to connect with others around you. It's something that I've been messaging so much, there is this magic at the kitchen table. There's a magic within community. There is a magic in allowing ourselves to share in a common need that we all have. And I think that if we allowed ourselves space to engage in that more often, we might actually understand each other more often. If you caught a glimpse at what I'm putting together here, I'm piling on top of this chicken are all of these spices and ingredients that are going to be making up this browned chicken stew. It is something that is much more Caribbean rather than Mediterranean. Again, some of the dishes that I'm learning from my father-in-law to ensure that we keep these traditions going in my house. For this brown stewed chicken, it is ginger, which I just chopped up right here, some pepper. We're going to add in some onions, some browning, all of that dark syrup that you saw, that is browning. It has a lot of molasses in it. It makes for a very delicious, very dark, deep color, but also flavor. And that's just going to marinate in the fridge for a while, longer the better. And it's just stewing it up like you would with anything else. But the combination of spices here really is beautiful. It's different. It's something that, man, I was obsessed with when I first met with my husband and we were enjoying some truly Jamaican dishes. Oh man, I fell in love. So it allow yourself to try different things, but again, they're not as difficult to put together. It's just a matter of a few ingredients. And if these ingredients are new to you, a lot of these are readily available nowadays. So, try different things. If it's a little bit out of your comfort zone, it is worth experimenting. When you fry up this chicken, it's kind of hard to see where it's going to be browned because the browning itself is so dark. So you just go by feel here. It's a lot of chicken. I think I used about 3 of those mini Costco packages, so like a whole sleeve, and that's going to feed all of us for tonight with a little bit of lunch for tomorrow. And then once the chicken is browned, I did separate it from the rest of the marinade with the peppers and onions. The peppers and onions are going to go in after the chicken is browned. And then once they, cook down a little bit, I'll put everything back, put a little bit of water, and then they're just going to cook all together to make a nice thick stew. So as I plate this up, I want to remind you that It's important to worry less about what others think or your appearance or what you think people perceive you to be, and worry more about just being true to yourself and just being a good person and doing what's right. There is really no difference there, and there's not much to interpret there, because as long as you are bringing joy, happiness, and love to others, you can't lose. So keep those words with you. I wish you safety. I wish you blessings all of this week, and I'll see you soon.